Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, I hope you are having a fabulous day and a great start to your weekend. If you don't know me, my name is Teresa and I love all things makeup, beauty and skincare. So every weekend I like to hang out with you guys and discuss the collective new makeup and beauty releases that we've all found kind of interesting. But to do that, you guys have been very diligently tagging and DMing me in content. So I want to say a massive thank you to all of you who did that. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. As always, I also have to say a massive thank you to my YouTube community members. You're the best. And actually, next week is my birthday. I know, I am getting older. Who knew? I'm actually surprised I've lived this long. I'm going to be 34 on the 3rd of May. So I was thinking to celebrate that, I want to hang out with my YouTube community members for like an hour or something and just basically hang out, chat, maybe go through like my beauty room, any things I've got recently, what you guys are thinking about things, just a general chit chat. So let me know down below, YouTube community members, if you're interested in that. I hugely appreciate you. But we do have a few things to actually discuss this week, although I will say it's a little bit more quiet than usual. However, all of that being said, I highly recommend that you get your beverage of choice, maybe some snickety snacks, and we'll get right on into it. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the Beauty Crop. If you don't know the Beauty Crop, they are a brand based out of the UK, and their whole thing has been around like makeup infused with skincare, and they came out with quite a few new things. They're mostly like extensions of existing lines. So for example, they have their Lipped Cream Lip Oil shades. There's 4 new additions to that in the shades Watermelon, Peaches, Fudge and Goji. They're £10 each. There's also the Bronzing Serum Drops. So they already had an existing shade which was Sun Kissed, but they've added 3 new shades to that. They're £10 each, but apparently they're normally meant to be £12, and they've added 2 different types of blushes. So one is a cream blush, they're £12 each, and they've added 3 new shades: Lavish Lily, Coral Carnation and Blooming Hibiscus. And they have 5 new shades of their blushed powder, which are £12 each, and they come in the shades Peach Blossom, Coral Carnation, Lavish Lily, Pop and Peony and Blooming Hibiscus. Let's talk about maybe the Lipped Cream Lip Oil shades first. So they're quite affordable actually, £10 each, but I think you can get like different bundles of them. I believe there's some that's like 2 for £10 or something like that. It has jojoba oil and vitamin E in them. Now they've kind of done 2 quite pinky reddish tones which look almost similar to each other when you look at them, but they don't have anything like that in their line to date. Their existing lip oils have been very neutral, very kind of safe colours, so it's kind of interesting to see them go into this lens. I think it's quite nice. Am I like into lip oils? Not really. I mean, I think the whole lip oil thing is kind of silly because it's like, well, it's lip gloss. You've just changed one word, but it is essentially the same thing. Like, I don't get why we collectively decided to remarket it as that. It's very strange to me. But I do think that the price of this is really good, and anything that I have tried from the brand, not that I've tried a huge amount from the brand, but anything I have tried has actually been pretty darn good. The next thing then is obviously then this Sun Kissed Bronze Serum Drop, and there's straight away on their website people going, oh my god, this is a dupe of the Drunk Elephant. And it's like, okay, how many of these have we got right now? This apparently includes shea butter and aloe vera, and the new shades are Sunshine, Sun Dew and Sun Tanned. And when you look at them, they look very highlighter-esque. And part of what bugged me when I went over to their website is they've shown it before and after on this absolutely stunning model. You'll see her right now and she does look gorgeous, but they've only shown like one model with the shade, and I'm like, I kind of wish they had shown a diversity of models to kind of show these particular shades, because I personally feel like they needed to add a couple of additional shades, because for instance Sunshine and Sun Dew are probably going to work for a lot of the same population as with Sun Tanned and Sun Kissed, so I think there could have been like some additional levels of depth there. That's just me being extremely pernickety. The creamed blush, I mean, they look so pretty. I love that the cream blushes actually have a corresponding powder blush, and each of these, by the way, have vitamin E and goji berry extract in them. Like I said, their whole thing is like, hey, let's have this so that there's skincare infused in it. I mean, I actually really like the shades of this. Like, they've just come out with 3 new shades of them, but they're 3 quite different shades to each other. I will say, however, when you see them swatched, some of the new shades do look kind of similar to existing ones. So for example, Coral Carnation, you can kind of of see as like the love child of Peach Blossom and Glistening Gardenia. So if you have the two of those, you probably don't need to get Coral Carnation. And then Lavish Lily is like a slightly brighter version of Pink Rose. I do think it's like distinct enough that it warrants that. But also then Bloomin' Hibiscus, you can see it's a slightly deeper version of Blingin' Dahlia. But it is really, really pretty. And I think there are shades here that are going to look really, really nice on deeper skin tones, which is something that we don't tend to see a lot of, unfortunately, within the makeup community. And I think for £12, that's kind of excellent. Like, I personally think it's really, really great. And then finally we have the blushes that are powders, and there's 5 new shades. The thing that I am most impressed about with this is that it is talc free. I have said this for ages and I feel so vindicated in this, that talc free is becoming more and more of a thing within the makeup and beauty realm, and I'm kind of here for it. It means that makeup is going to be safer, there's going to be a lot less health concerns. Like, you should have seen that whole Johnson & Johnson kind of thing. I think they've settled for 8.9 billion, which is like a crazy number. So for me, seeing a brand actually going towards talc free, I am here for that. And the fact that they've managed to go talc free and keep it at £12, I'm not really sure how they've done that, because like the compact itself is really nice and it includes a mirror, and anytime you include that sort of thing, it always increases the price. So I'm kind of surprised at that. It's beautiful. I will say they kind of have it so that they're like corresponding names to the creams, but they're not as like boom. Like, say for instance, Lavish Lily and Blooming Hibiscus, if you see them in the pan of the powder versus the cream, they're not as Balm Vibrant. But I think it's probably because the Balm Vibrant of the cream isn't going to come up in the same way as, say, the powder blush will on the skin. So they do look absolutely gorgeous. And I think like £12 is really, really good. I would normally have put these to you guys, and I even remember sitting down and putting them into my stories on Instagram, in case any of you guys have ever wondered how I have done this with you guys. Whatever is going on with Instagram for me this week, I've had like a weird thing with it. It's not like uploading things properly, and I didn't think to double check, because I remember sitting down yesterday and like putting all of these into my stories, but apparently it didn't happen. So unfortunately, I don't have your actual opinions on these. I know, I'm terrible. Straight to Jill, do not pass go, etc, etc. I personally think it's really, really good, and the price point is great. Hasn't come to Beauty Bay yet, but I would imagine it will come quite soon. Then the next thing we have is Notoriously Morbid, who have their Unearthly Aura palette, and as I'm filming, this is coming out today, so quite exciting. There's lots of different codes for money off, but I have searched high and low for the exact price and I haven't gotten any information on that, which is very, very annoying for me. All I do know is that it's a 16 pan palette, and the vibe of this is very Unearthly Cosmetics, and I say that with like a huge amount of respect, because I think this is a really good direction for them to take. Not that I ever had any issue with Notoriously Morbid before. I thought they had some really interesting aesthetics, but this could kind of grab more people. This is really beautiful, and the swatches that they have provided are gorgeous. Like, they're so, so pretty. Do I feel that this is a one and done palette? No, I think this is one of those ones that you're gonna like reach into and grab a couple of things. It is very, very pretty though. Like, there's some of those shades that have like a really interesting sort of a reflect. Are they necessarily unique? No, let's be 100% honest. I don't think there's anything really now in the makeup and beauty world as I'm filming that is like truly unique and out there. Like, there's always going to be somebody who's kind of done some element of whatever that thing is. I think it's very, very pretty though, and I'm looking forward to seeing the overall color story as it's coming out. It doesn't look like they have any mattes in it. I could be completely wrong, because as I said, the information that they've given on this is extremely sparse. There's no information as to how much it's going to cost. They have, however, said that some of these are like lip safe versus not lip safe. So obviously they're trying to kind of market this as being like a very versatile multi-use palette. I personally like that. I think that's really, really smart for the brand to kind of say, you know, you should try and use your products in lots of different ways. The way that they've shown it on the back, it does look like there's essentially color columns that kind of make sense. Apart from the two middle ones, they're kind of a little bit dispersed and a little bit all over the place. I would kind of shift around the blues to be with the blues and the purples to be with the purples, but that is just me being very like pernickety. Just swap that blue with that violet-y shade. That's all I'm asking. I do think it looks gorgeous. The artwork, as I said before, looks so much like Unearthly Cosmetics that I'm kind of like, ain't that an interesting little moment for all of us? But I do think that this is a great little venture for them. I'm for sure intrigued. Yeah, I think this is a good direction. Then the next thing that we have is Adept Cosmetics, and they announced that they have a collaboration with Amy Loves Makeup, and this is coming out very, very soon. It's May 1st at 10 a.m. at CST. She is, by the way, doing a bundle. She's swatched it over on her channel. I had a look at it and it is stunning. I keep looking at it and I'm like, Teresa, you have so much Adept stuff. Why do you have so much Adept stuff? And I'm like, because they're so pretty and so shiny and I like the shiny. Meh, 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 meh. Anyways, if you want to get the bundle, it's $90. It is so pretty. So they don't seem to put a name onto it other than like an Amy Loves eyeshadow palette, which, do you know what? Fair enough. If I had made something this beautiful, I'd want my name on it as well. That's going to be $69 if you want to kind of get that for yourself. There's, by the way, loads of codes to get money off if you are interested. And there's also this fabulous face palette, and it includes 2 blushes and 2 highlighters. Let's maybe talk about the eyeshadow first, because that has my heart. This, by the way, has 1 multi-chrome, 1 holographic shadow, 2 duochromes, 6 shimmers, and 5 mattes. Now, they normally do this where they don't have a very matte heavy palette. They normally have a very like shimmer, like multi-chrome heavy palette. And normally for any other brand, I'm like, have it so that there's an even dispersal. But I swallow all my words when it comes to Adept, because I'm like, no, it's beautiful. Show me the shimmer. I am actually just a magpie, but in a skin suit. So I'm kind of here for this. I will say my friend Daniela also pointed this out, and I think she was so right, that they kind of didn't need to put in any other mattes, because the mattes that they've put in are very, very versatile and would work with all of these shades. So this is just curated exceptionally well. Like, I can't sit here and go, oh, I do this differently, or I take this shade out, or I put this shade in, because actually, in reality, I think this is done exceptionally well. I think the only thing that I could maybe say is there are 2 kind of purpley shades that you see over on the right hand side, and they're quite similar when kind of swatched on the arm. I'd probably kind of shift one of them out for something else, but that's again being very, very pernickety. I suspect that there's maybe like a different sheen or whatever that couldn't quite be captured there. But oh my goodness, it is stunning. I will also say I was kind of surprised that this is only retailing for $69 and that you can get the bundle together for $90. Because traditionally, you know, whenever a brand does a collab, the price just, it goes up. That's how it is, you know, they're making the money off that. But this is the same as like the rest of their eyeshadows in terms of price. So I appreciate that they're trying to make it so that it is a little bit more accessible. Oh, it is gorgeous. Just everything about Adept I really enjoy, because like the way that the palette comes to you, it looks so luxe, it looks so beautiful. Sometimes I just take it out and I just kind of like shimmy it underneath an eye, like a light, kind of going, oh, look at you, aren't you so beautiful? Because that's what a normal functioning human being does. But I think that is stunning. There's also the face palette, as I said, that is $34. Again, you can have codes to get 10% off. That has 2 highlighters and 2 matte blushes. They are just, they're so pretty. I totally get why she went with these kind of cool toned pinks to have with that cool toned palette, because it just meshes so well. I will say that I'm not wildly surprised that she went for like a pink face palette, because those colors just look absolutely gorgeous on her complexion, and she does lean a little bit more cool. So the fact that she went for both a cool tone palette and a cool tone face palette isn't wildly surprising. If you haven't tried Adept Cosmetics in terms of their face products, you're in for a treat. You'll really enjoy them. I have a couple of their kind of face palettes to date. They are fabulous. Really good value, actually. $34 for 4 shades. They're like 2 blushes and 2 highlighters. I actually think is really, really good. I love this. I'm trying to talk myself out of it, because I'm like, you actually don't need it, Teresa. That's so ridiculous. You're being so stupid. But I keep telling myself that I'm going to do a declutter. So I'm like, if I do a declutter, I can get new things. And I'm like, that is not the point of a declutter, Teresa. You are so silly. I think this is just curated so well. I feel like the price actually isn't bad, considering again it's a collab and it's an indie company. I'm not surprised that she went with Adept, because she's kind of been following and using them for years. This is a very smart collab in that sense. And I think the fact that she went for a cool toned eyeshadow palette is quite smart, because a lot of people look for that, and there's enough color in there to be interesting, but it's neutral enough that people who are a bit nervous of that can still kind of mess around with it. So I think that was very, very smart. Now I'm on to some stuff that I didn't actually get to chat to you guys in shorts, etc. about. And this was actually brought to my attention by one of my YouTube followers. So thank you so much. I so appreciate it. This is Kiko Milano, and they have put together a Bridgerton collection. I will say I was kind of surprised about this. Why? Because the prices are pretty high. This is where I was saying, like, anytime you're talking about a collab, the prices tend to increase, and Kiko have definitely done that, because Kiko are known for being that little bit more affordable. But I was surprised that they went for Kiko, because they've gone from Pat McGrath to now a Kiko collab, and it's like, huh? Because Kiko are not known for being wildly inclusive when it comes to shades of bronzers, highlighters, etc. They're just known to be a little bit more caucasus in their color range, and the very fact that Bridgerton's whole thing is around like diversity and inclusivity, I was kind of surprised that they went for that brand. So that's all I'm going to say about that. However, they have a lot of stuff, and it is actually really pretty. So there's 3 different shades of eyeshadow palettes. They're €25.99 each. Do you see what I mean about the price? Like, it's quite high. There's also 3 different styles of lip balms. They're €19.99 each. There's a bouquet blush and highlighter duo, 2 styles. They're €27.99 each. There's 4 different shades of brilliant lip gloss, €21.99 each. The Bridgerton Gilded Glaze Shimmering Cream Shadow, which comes in 3 shades for €18.99 each. And finally, there's 1 Bridgerton Ballroom Bling Liquid Eyeliner for €16.99. Let's talk about the eyeshadow palettes first. So as I said, there's 3 of them. There's Regency Delight, there's Ballroom Bliss, and Romantic Rhapsody. But I don't know about you. Maybe it's just me. But do 2 of them look quite similar to each other? Like, I get it. Pinks, purples, etc. make a huge amount of sense. Who are you? Are you like Pat McGrath? Maybe they took a lot of their inspiration on this from Pat McGrath, because it kind of feels like they've tried to do the Pat McGrath Bridgerton collection but from Kiko, and it's kind of funny. I do think that the packaging is gorgeous on this, but the 2 palettes are very, very similar to each other. Like, even if you see the shades all crushed up next to each other, like, it is like, okay, one is a little bit lighter and one is a little bit deeper. So it feels a little bit like, huh, where did that come from? And I will also say, maybe I'm just insane, but €25.99 feels very expensive for a quad from Kiko of all of the brands. Do they look luxe? Yes, they actually do. I think, again, the packaging looks so, so good. The color combinations are totally fine. I think they're a little bit like boring, but that's just me. If you love them, I'm delighted for you. It's just not for me. And we will agree to disagree. We will just get on with our lives and not get annoyed about it. It's just, I don't know, a bit plain, but it's nice. I mean, to be fair, you're not going to be seeing like massive duochromes, etc. around Bridgerton. That would be weird. So I actually think it fits in with the theme. I feel like these would make gorgeous gifts. The lip balms. Can I talk about those? Yes, I can, because this is my channel. They are really, really pretty. The packaging, again, 10 out of 10 Kiko. You've done really, really well. There's like a duochrominess to them that I'm kind of like, excuse me. They're quite nice. What frustrated me, they're, by the way, available right now on their website, and this is where I've pulled all of these pictures from. They've shown like the actual product like squashed out and I'm like, okay, grand, but can you show it to me on the lips? Because the product squashed out looked really, really cool, but I want to see it actually on the lip, because it does look very, very interesting. I want to see what that greeny one looks like. It's called Ivy Iridescent. That is super, super interesting to me. But then the other 2 shades, I think they could look stunning. That's a little bit more kind of like inclusive in the sense, like the deeper shade I think would look gorgeous on a deeper skin tone. So I kind of wish that they had shown that. I'm a bit confused as to why they didn't. Then we have the blush and highlighter duo, and when I was looking at these online, I go to like right click and then open image in new tab, and I was like, why have I opened up the same image twice? But no, these are actually 2 separate blushes, and when you look at them closer, you're like, okay, I can kind of see it. But this is where you really see the issue with Kiko, of them kind of not going past a certain shade. They're like, no, depth, no, we don't want to do that, because their lightest highlighter in one of them and the deeper highlighter, there's not that much of a difference between them. And even the blush is like, okay, slightly different. One is more orange and one is more pinky toned, but I'm like, there isn't a huge difference in there. And also €27 €7.99. Who do they think they are? Are they Linda Hallberg now? Because I feel like Linda Hallberg did something similar to this, didn't they? I could be losing my mind. There was definitely duos. I think Nabla did like duos as well. Again, so pretty to look at, but I just don't get why, as a brand, they refuse to go for inclusivity with their stuff. Like, why is there not a deeper shade of highlighters, etc. here? Like, a chunk of the cast could not wear this. What is that about? Like, very, very strange to me. Then there are these lip glosses. Again, they're quite pretty. There's like a really interesting kind of gold one there. Then there's one that's more kind of like, I don't want to say beige, but like bland. It's like your standard lip gloss, nothing sparkly or whatever, but the rest of them seem to have sparkles with the exception of that one shade. So I think that's, again, quite pretty. They've obviously put a lot of investment into the packaging, because that is like genuinely very eye-catching, and I think they're kind of really banking on people coming into the stores, seeing it and kind of going, ah yes, I want this, because there's a lot of people out there, myself included, that when we see shiny packaging we're like, ah yes, give it to me, and then we go home and we're like, what did I do? What happened to me? And don't pretend that that hasn't happened to you, because it definitely has. There's also those kind of cream shadows that they have. Purple, again, I'm like, did you just hang out with Pat McGrath when you were coming out with this? Because it's so hard to almost disentangle Pat from this, because Pat did the Bridgerton collection before, and the fact that they've got like the purples, the golds, the creamy pinks, I'm like, this is so Pat. It like not even funny. Well, it is funny, but you know what I mean. I again wish that they'd shown this actually applied on the eye. I don't think it's a bad one at all, quite pretty. The thing that I'm most interested in is actually this kind of like liquid liner, because there seems to be like a duochrominess to it. It's retailing for €16.99, so it's not cheap, guys. It's not cheap. Is it the standard duochrome? Yes, it is. It's a blue to purple. Literally every other brand has done it. You know, you could really get it from like Glisten Cosmetics for about the same price. Insert any other brand there, really. All I can think of is Glisten Cosmetics, because they're really top tier when it comes to that sort of thing. Also, my friend Daniela has a code with them. It's Cosmic Peaches, if you are interested. Again, packaging, 10 out of 10, really, really well done, but I can't really see how this liner necessarily links in with Bridgerton. Like I said, I couldn't really see any of the cast wearing anything duochrome. Like, it doesn't really make sense for the aesthetic. It's more like really glowy skin and like, I'm so beautiful, I'm straight from a novella, which they are, they're from a novel, so there you go. What do I think of the overall collection? Actually, I don't think it's bad at all. Price-wise, I'm a bit confused as to, you know, the fact that Kiko have increased their price. I think it'll do well because it's Bridgerton, there's a lot of fans out there, the new season is coming out. I personally am very excited about it because Nicola Coughlan, she is fabulous and she is the lead this season. Hurrah! And I am very excited about that. They actually basically jumped a season for that because it should have... Anyways, if you read the books, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I feel like Kiko was a strange one to go to after Pat. You know, they went for a POC brand. Fantastic. That's really smart. Then to a brand that has, on a number of occasions, it's not isolated incidents, but on a number of occasions failed to be very inclusive with their shade ranges. So I just think that's a very ill-considered collab from Bridgerton themselves. I'm not actually critiquing Kiko on this. I'm like, Bridgerton, have you not done your research on this? Because that seems like a really odd collab to me, but I'm sure it'll do well nonetheless. Then we have quite a few things from Made by Mitchell. So we knew that he was coming out with some skin tints and they have arrived. There's 20 shades, they're £16 each. What I found really interesting about this was when he was showing this over on Instagram, I thought this was very, very smart. When he was showing each of the shades, there's also like a corresponding color key to say what NARS product it corresponds to, because let's be real, everyone knows at this point, well maybe not everyone, but like a big chunk of people can know what their NARS shade is, or they can be like, I'm gonna go in and color match to NARS to then know which of Mitchell's skin tints are going to work for me. I'm like, oh Mitchell, that is smart. What I also think is very, very smart is that they have specifically made sure that this includes olive undertones, right? right? We normally see that a brand will include cool, neutral and warm undertones, but they forget about the olive skin tones. So kudos, I think that's really, really smart. They claim to be an extremely hydrating lightwear and a radiant formula. And I have to say, it looks very, very pretty on the models. I quite like a skin tint. I will say that whatever way that they have photographed TT20, which is the deepest shade, it could be the lighting, etc., but it looks a bit ashy on her. That may be the finishing powder that they've used. It just doesn't look maybe as vibrant and radiant as they were hoping for. But I feel like the shade range is actually not bad, considering again it's a skin tint. And I do think it's a bit strange that they went from TT1 to TT2, and TT2 is much lighter than TT1. So I'm a little bit like, what's going on there? Should they not be switched around? But that's just me like working it in a gradient. I like the look of this. Like I said, it's £16. I would imagine by the time it gets to Beauty Bay love to increase the price on that, which is like a bit ridiculous. But if you're in Ireland like me, hey, they are also selling Mitchell stuff over on Cloud 10 Beauty. So keep a little eye out on that. Actually, if you go onto Made by Mitchell's own website, it will redirect you to that, which I find interesting because they're redirecting you to Cloud 10 rather than Beauty Bay anymore. And I'm like, oh, what is going on there? Trouble in paradise? Who knows? I think this is quite nice, to be fair. But they also came out with their Bold Balm concealers. Again, there's 20 shades and they're £14 each. This was created to act apparently hand in hand with the Truth Tint, and it's a solid to gloss formula. So this is not a matte concealer at all. If you want a matte concealer, run away. This is not for you. This is going to give you that glossy thing, which kind of makes sense. Again, the fact that it's meant to go with that Truth Tint sheer skin tint. Such a hard thing to actually say, but it's because obviously that one is glossy. This is meant to be glossy as well. As with skin tint, this also includes olive undertones as well, which honest to God, kudos. I think this is quite smart. Very, very pretty. I'm quite a dry bee. Are you surprised? And by that I mean your skin. I also have a very dry sense of humor, but I think this could work quite well for me because I do look for things that would be kind of glossy, kind of radiant, to make me look like I aren't covered in scales. That's my main concern at this point. I feel like the shade range, very inclusive. They've done really, really well there. This is one of those instances where you can see you don't have to come out with 50 shades to be inclusive. If you look at the lightest shade and then the deepest shade, you're like, okay, yeah, you've done well there. And the fact that they've also got different undertones as well there, I think that is done very, very well. So I have to say, I'm kind of impressed by this. I will kind of wait until it comes to like Beauty Bay or Cloud 10, etc. But I would definitely consider, I don't need it, but I would consider it. Then we have Arttitude Cosmetics. Oh my God. If you don't know Arttitude Cosmetics, they're a fantastic indie brand out of the UK. I am an affiliate with them, so take everything that I'm saying with a pinch of salt. And Rux, who is the founder of Arttitude, said that she was kind of looking for this type of product herself, but she couldn't find anything that she really liked that met her needs in that way. And thus came Pat Pat Powder. And like I said, there has been a massive shift in terms of talc-free products, and this happens to be one of them. So it's their first ever complexion product. It's talc-free, it's fragrance-free, it has a blurring technology, so I think there's silica in it. It has long-lasting oil control, a soft focus matte finish. There's non-comedonogenic ingredients. It contains vitamin E, and it has 10 shades. 10 shades. I am so impressed. I love that she's got like even like a light purple in there. That's beautiful. I am genuinely excited about this. As I'm filming, it isn't available right now, but I'm sure it will be soon. It's apparently very finely milled, which obviously is going to be great. Look, we've moved on from the Laura Mercier powders. Do you remember when that was like a really big thing? And now we've all moved into other things. And I think this is coming at a great time. The fact that it's fragrance free genuinely pleases me because I am so sensitive to any of these sort of scents, etc. I don't know the price. I've looked and looked for that. I'll probably know after I've finished filming because it'll be available in the next 2 or 3 hours after I finished. But by the way, you can get money off with my code Teresa10. Blech. Gross. I feel gross for saying that, but there you go. I am legit interested. Do I need it? I don't. I'm gonna wait. Simply because I'm actually working my way through a couple of powders at the moment, and I do not need to just senselessly add to my collection. But I am so excited for them. This is so clever. Again, very inclusive. The fact that we're seeing like indie brands do it better than some mainstream brands is like a bit bananas to me, but in the best way. Then we have Natasha Denona, and she's come out with her Hy-Glam powder foundation, and this is retailing, oh, sit down, for $55. It is apparently refillable. You'll get 12.5 grams for that. It's talc free, again, you know me, I love that. It's oil controlled and it's available in 36 shades. I am super interested in this. The compact, by the way, includes their Hilux sponge, which is meant to help you in terms of your applications. Obviously you can use that, but you can use other things. It's going to give you a matte finish, medium buildable coverage, protects skin against environmental stressors, supports skin's natural elasticity and hydration. It's anti-inflammatory and it's a refillable pan. It's also, again, made in Italy. She's been doing quite a few of these. Right, what do I think of this? You guys know I'm an affiliate with Natasha Denona. I really enjoy her product. This comes very soon after her, what was it, the Glow Beautifier, which, by the way, I ordered 3 weeks ago and still has not arrived. So I'm like, excuse me, maybe just get your stuff to arrive. I kind of wish I had waited and gotten it off of like Look Fantastic or Cult Beauty or something, because I'm waiting. I bought it off of their website and it 3 weeks later and I still haven't got it. They haven't been much help. I'm kind of a bit annoyed about that, but let's be fully transparent. I'm not going to be like, oh my god, amazing. Right, I am for sure interested in this. As I've said before though, I have a lot of stuff in my collection already. I do think it's really helpful that they've got like essentially a matching thing there to let you know on their website what sort of shade is going to help for you. I appreciate that they've got quite light to dark. They've shown the with and without. That looks really, really pretty. A lot of these claims are so for me. I kind of love it. You know, the lightweight natural finish. 36 shades. Again, I think that's really, really smart. I like it, but $55, it is super expensive. I think I'm gonna wait. I don't have that many powder foundations. I think I'm a little bit nervous almost. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm a little bit nervous of using like powder foundations because I feel like you have to be, this is my perception, this is probably not the truth, but I never see people using them and I don't really know how to use them because I need to be shown how to use things because I'm not smart enough to figure it out by myself. So actually, Daniela, can you tell me how to use powder foundation, please? Thank you. Yeah, I turned to Daniela when in doubt. I like this. Am I going to spend $55 on this? No, not immediately. I know I have like a code for 15% off. It is my name. I know, gross, whatever. Blah, there we go. I don't know. I personally don't need this right now. I'm for sure intrigued. I kind of wish she would separate out her launches because it's now kind of coming to the point that we're getting a launch every 3 to 4 weeks. And for me, that feels like a lot from a high-end brand. Like, this is not cheap. I do appreciate the fact that it's refillable. Fantastic. I think that's so smart. But when it's coming hot off of the heels of their Glow Beautifier 3 to 4 weeks ago, it's maybe a little bit too soon. I do think though this is something that is missing from their repertoire. They don't have this so far. So in that sense, fair enough. This has obviously been kind of in production for quite some time. You don't just kind of just come out with this whatever. I love that they're saying it's leaving a smooth, poreless finish. Is that true though? Or is it just like, it's poreless under a ring light? I want to see this in natural light. Should I get it and try it in natural light? No, nobody cares enough. That is not a good enough reason. I'm done with the days of like buying things. Well, let me correct myself. I will still buy things, but I'm trying not to buy things with the sole purpose of like, I'll make a video out of that because I don't have time. I just don't. And it'll sit there and then I'm like, I should have made a video out of that, and then it didn't happen and then I feel guilty and I'm like, I'm not doing that to myself anymore. But I'd love to see somebody actually try this and put it on in the natural light to see what the story is. I will get this probably at some point because I do enjoy a lot of her products. But it is a lot of money to pay upfront. I'm not going to buy it through her website. I'd probably buy it through like Cult Beauty, Look Fantastic, etc. Whatever. Just because they haven't got their delivery thing done yet. Like, it's a bit all over the place. but I do like it. One of the very last things that we're talking about, because I do have one thing after this, but it is a sneak peek, is Jolie Beauty, and they provided their Till Death collection, and it is available now. So there's an eyeshadow palette available for €47.95. There's 5 shades of their Air Matte Liquid Lipsticks. They're €16.95 each, or you can bundle them for €71.95. There's 7 shades of their Heavy Metal Liquid Eyeshadow for €17.95 each, or you can get the bundle of all of them for €100.95. And there's a mirror, which is limited edition, for €15.95. You can get the full collection for €202.95, and then there's all these different bundles. I'm going to talk about the eyeshadow palette first, and I do think this is quite pretty. I like the shades of this. However, I'm going to sound so mean. Oh god, this is happening. It's coming out of my mouth. But there's something about this that feels a bit dated to me. Oh, don't hate me. But I just feel like if we looked back in the annals of 2018, 2019, Morphe, that's right, I'm saying Morphe, there's a very distinct parallel between this and a couple of their palettes. And I don't know if it's just because it's so big and it's making me think of that, but I feel like we've seen this colour story. It's beautiful, it's very, very pretty, don't get me wrong. If you love it, delighted for you. And I will say, I have 2 Jolie Beauty palettes, and I really, really like the formula. I think it's done really, really well. And I think the whole colour story of this is curated nicely. It makes an awful lot of sense. You know, they've gone for that kind of gothic neutral, which I think is very, very smart. However, we have this. We've seen it before. Put it down, take it out of your basket, go have a look through your collection. You probably own it already. Don't buy it. You don't need to buy it. It looks beautiful. But I will say, like, I'm looking at even like the pink tones here, and it's giving me the Lowest Cosmetics Rose Metal, which unfortunately was discontinued, but I can already dupe a lot of that with existing shades. I do feel like the grey tones are very, very pretty, but if you've got, say for instance, the Beauty Bay palettes, you don't need it. You already have it. You already have it through the Beauty Bay cool neutrals as well. So I feel like maybe if this came out a few years ago, then maybe, but right now not so much. What I do think are interesting are the 5 liquid matte lipsticks. Like, there's grey ones through to like more purple grey, which is very unusual. It's hard to kind of get those sort of cool toned lipsticks. They're not wildly expensive now. I haven't tried any of their liquid lipsticks, so I can't tell you about how comfortable they are. Personally, for me, I do like liquid lipsticks. Like, they're usually quite interesting, but they're very, very drying, so there's a give and a take on that. The shades themselves, very, very interesting. I can't really see how they correspond completely to the eyeshadow palette. There's elements that I can kind of see, but then not so much, but it's definitely interesting. I think the bits that are the least interesting to me are actually those liquid kind of metal eyeshadows. I think they're quite expensive for what they are. There's nothing wildly innovative there. I'm going to say it again, Lowest Cosmetics. They had their foiled, was it the Crown liquid shadows? There's a lot of kind of parallel to that. Miss Lowest Cosmetics. I miss Lowest Cosmetics. I just feel like if you've been in the makeup game for a while, go through your collection. You probably have some shades like this already. You do not need to get this. I'm saying this for me as well as for you. You definitely don't need it. They're fine. They're pretty. There's nothing actually wrong with them, but there's nothing new or innovative. And it does feel a little bit dated. I know that's awful to say. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just in the sense that you probably have this in your collection already. If you don't have any makeup at all, and this is the first thing that you've ever seen, and you really like it, go for it. Go for it, my lovely. You'll really enjoy it. Jolie Beauty does really, really nice formulas, and you will enjoy yourself. But if you are a long established makeup and beauty user like myself, put it down. You don't need it. I do, however, think that the little hand mirror is very cute. Not in any way practical because it's so small. Like, look at it next to the hand. By the way, I'm like pretty much blind. Unless they have like a magnifying mirror, but they haven't specified that it's a magnifying mirror, you're not going to see an awful lot there. It is limited edition, so you know, if you really want it, you're going to have to get it. But I do think that is kind of cute. In all, the collection is fine, but it feels very like 2018 makeup. And I like 2018 makeup. I say that with love. I do like it. But there's a lot about this that kind of makes me think of old school Morphe. So take that for what it is. But the very last thing that I'm talking about is actually this sneak peek or announcement or reveal, whatever it is that we want to call it, between Lethal Cosmetics and Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is all going to be coming out in May 2024. So essentially a couple of days. So they haven't said exactly when in May. I assume maybe mid-May. They're going to come out with 15 products apparently, and they themselves are big fans of the IP. So I feel like this will be done quite well. I don't know anything about the IP. I'm sorry, it's not my jam. I've never watched it, but I suspect the fact that they're fans, they'll probably execute this really, really well. Lethal Cosmetics are a really well-respected, good quality indie brand. They're not going to be cheap though. They are not going to be cheap. This is going to be an expensive collection, I think. So if you're really looking forward to this, you're gonna need to save your pennies to get it. It'll be very interesting though, in my opinion. So I can't wait to see what the story is there. I will obviously let you guys know if there's updates, keep a little eye out for those shorts, etc. But my gorgeous friends, that's it. Like I said, it is a little bit shorter this week. Things kind of ran away from me. It's been a hectic week. It's always a hectic week. I come to you with excuses for being really shit at this. But hey, it's not my job. This is my hobby, so there you go. But I do have my favourite comment, and this is from the fabulous Mink G81788, who said, "Oh, I'd seen that Blend Bunny set and hadn't realised it was them. I was thinking it was weird of Be Perfect to do a big palette so similar to one that they'd already done not that long ago. Oh dear." And I kind of agree. I wanted to highlight this comment because I want to make it really clear that this is a safe space for us to kind of talk about things, and we can critique things without being like mean or sassy or whatever. Although like being sassy is totally fine. But this is like a really good example of how to critique something and point out a similarity without being mean about it. So I love that. I love kind of showing examples of that, but also the fact that we can critique here and make it a safe space to do that. So thank you so much, and I'm with you, Mink. Like I agree. I saw it. I thought it was Be Perfect as well. I'm kind of a bit disappointed with the brand as a result of that, but I think they'll do well anyway with that collection simply because of who they're collaborating with. But my gorgeous friends, that's it. That's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell, and do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case just wrap it up. Don't be gross, but that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.